I served on the space station of Mimas as a liaison for the Earth Embassy, working with many alien races.
Jean-Charles Moyen, Franco-American SSP, aboard the Solaris spaceship, a part of the Solar Warden. My mission, protection and rescue slaves on other planets.
Rebecca Rose, Psychic Super Soldier, Moon, Mars, Kuiper Belt, and beyond.
Namaste. I'm Yana Prakash. I am a multidimensional healer, work directly with the Andromeda Council, and infinite creation through the oneness with all that it is.
We know if you won't tell them the truth, we will. I'm James Rink, founder of the Super Soldier Talk podcast, Healing Soul Survivors 501c3, and now the Super Soldier Activation Conference. I have dedicated myself to documenting the untold stories of the secret space program. I have brought awareness of MIlabs, also known as military abductions, MK Ultra, Monarch, and Montauk programming. Join us for the 2025 Super Soldier Activation Conference in Orlando, Florida, from October 8th to the 12th. Experience 4 days of groundbreaking discussions with over 25 courageous secret space program speakers. Secure your spot now at supersoldiercon.com. Par Ardua. All right, so that means by working together, we can all go to the stars. That was the slogan of Solar Warden. So, welcome to the show, everybody. We have Susan Long here. So, it's been a long time since Susan's been here before. And last time, there was another half part of her life that had to get expunged. But everybody, we're all going through growth in our life, and we're learning new things, and by these experiences we're able to transmute them and become better people. So Susan, welcome to the show. Why don't you unmute yourself there and give everybody a hello.
Hi. It's good to be back. I haven't talked to you on Super Soldier Talk anyway for about 5 years. Sorry, that's my Genesa crystal. I have her there. Bill Tyson, we could do another show on that. But it's a meditation device that I run a violet ray through. So I'll just turn it this way.
Very good. Yeah, audience members, is my mic on the right selections? I switched basically everything opposite what Jimmy Payne wanted me to be on. So I can bring it closer. I mean, Susan, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Susan is a lifelong experiencer, contactee, MIlab, secret space program experiencer, Montauk survivor, and she was in a multitude of programs as well as psychic mediumship. She was learned how to be a precog. She had psionic and remote viewing abilities. Susan used her psionic abilities to solve crime and locate missing people here in the here and now. For the last 15 years, she's been using her abilities as a healer, a medical medium, Holyfire and Osui Reiki master, Craniosacral Fascial
Therapist,
Faemon Energy Alchemist, descendant of the Tuatha de Danann, the tribe of Danu. Say that.
Danu. It's the Tuatha de Danann.
Okay. Are you related to Lena Danann by any chance?
No, I think she just took the name of the tribe.
Oh, okay.
Her public name.
Okay. Tribe of Dan. She's a Fae. She has dragon energy and a Lyran starseed. So I've got all of her social media links, and you can order a session by clicking the description. Great. Awesome. So let's start from what's been going on over the last 5 years since you've been on here last. Tell us a little bit about maybe.
Well, the craziest stuff was happening, started happening back in 2019 because I was looking for my memories because I had some and some were coming in dreams, and I was doing a lot of meditating. I didn't send you that picture, but I remember I was living in Delaware then, and I went by Brandywine Creek State Park because they would get calls for UFOs, weird stuff over the park. And it was during the day, and I was coming home from my therapy job, and I stuck my phone out the window and I said, I want to see my star family for my birthday. And I had a bunch of cloud-shaped Vimanas in there. I can send that to you. You can put it in there later. And I sent those to John D'Souza, and I was like, who's operating these? And he said, oh, those are the Anunnaki. And there was 4 of those in the picture, and then 1 cloud cloak ship that kind of looked like a plane. But also during that time, I was trying to jump timelines and get into my best timeline. And when I was doing that, I started glowing. And then then during lockdown in 2020, I saw, also in 2019, I went to a SETI, and when I was at the Pleiadian circle, there's, down from there, there's like a little hedge, and there's a little garden bench, and I sat there and I was meditating, and when I went there, I wanted to see the Bigfoot family. I didn't care anything about ETs. But I telepathed a Lyran that was with Yvette Vivanco when she was giving me craniosacral therapy. I'd love to go get therapies when I go to high vibe places like that, because really cool stuff happens. And when I was on the table there, her, I didn't know at the time, but it was her guide, Sia. And when I you'll see me close my eyes a lot when I work on people, because then I can see out of my third eye the whole room. And when I closed my eyes, I saw this Lyran female, and she was in this gray military uniform, and they never look at me. They look down like this, and she was kind of like at parade rest. And I felt like I was vibrating like 4 inches off the table, and I'm trying to hold on to it because I thought I was going to fall off the table and hurt myself. And I waited till Yvette got around the foot of the table, because that's where the Lyran was standing there like this up against the wall. And when she got to the right side of me, because she started on the left, I was like, Yvette, there's a Lyran being in here. And she says, is it my guide Sia? And she said, she spells it CIA. And I said, no, I telepathed to her. She pulled out a blackboard and she wrote SIA. And I said, like the singer? And she said yes, and I kind of fanned out, I was so excited that I saw a Lyran, and she was telepathing me. I said, are you a male or a female? And then she showed me like the curve of a breast, but with her uniform over it, and I was like, got it, we're telepathing back and forth, female, and then I was just like, and after that, I'd gone to meditate down by and I felt really drunk when I have contact with the Lyrans. They just make me I feel super intoxicated. Anyways, I went down to the Pleiadian circle to go meditate. And while I was there, my guide said, take a picture. So I took a picture of myself, and you could see my eyes went like this. I saw my Lyran, and my upper lip turned into like this cat lip. It's all puffy. And I was like, oh, wow. So I did remember fleeing Lyra and ending up here on Earth. And then when I went back home, I accidentally, one of the ladies, I was giving her the cranial fascial therapy that I do because she was having issues. I looked across, I had my eyes closed, and I could feel this golden light coming in, and I opened up my eyes, and my whole table was up with the lady was on a Lyran ship. And I was like, hey guys, I don't think she's ready for this. We gotta go back. But she wanted she saw the golden light coming in, but luckily she didn't see us in the ship, because I thought that was a little bit too much for this lady, because she didn't know about ETs. And I remember I kind of staggered out of the room that time, because when they show up, it's just like, woo, this super blissful energy for me, because they're bringing me up to their vibration. And then I ended up moving out here to Iowa when I thought I found my counterpart. Well, it's just a version of him. And then in 2020 during lockdown, I remember him saying to me, because we were sitting in my bedroom and I'll have a mirror in there, he says, you're a red dragon. I said, what? And he said, he's like, you're a red dragon. So I picked up my phone to look, and I was like, ah! And I dropped the phone because I looked like a fairy tale dragon. I had scales and everything. I didn't have hair. I just looked like a red dragon. And then I picked the phone back up because that my first fear was, how the hell am I going to go grocery shopping? I don't even want to wear a mask. And I'm a freaking dragon. I'm going to starve to death. But I did get a picture of, you can see like the bones in my forehead shifted. And if you're looking at me now, you can see I don't have any scales on my décolleté. You can see I've never had plastic surgery here. I have little scars here. And I caught the scales of me turning back into human because the shape shifting will last like 60 to 90 seconds. It's usually so quick that you're like, did I see that or not? But that's the only picture I've caught of the dragon. And then like recently I was working on this one lady, and she's a starseed too, because I saw when I was working on her for some energy work, I could see her and her grandmom in a field out here in Iowa, and they were contacted by the Pontee, and I knew it was the Pontee because that time you were at Journey to the Truth a couple years ago when Yvonne was selling her wands and stuff, I saw the Pontee in her booth. There was two of them, and they got all excited I could see them, and they were jumping up, oh, she can see us, she can see us. And the first time I used her wand here, the Pontee were above me. Like, I looked up, and have you seen those old pictures of operating theaters where everybody's down, and then there's, you know, like, kind of like stadium seating that goes up. It was like I was at the bottom of the stadium seating, and the Pontee were above me, observing me. And the way my room's set up here, I don't, in my house, because I have an office in my house here in Iowa, there isn't a floor above my table where I do energy work and stuff, because I just want to go straight out. I don't want it to go through the rest of the house. I just send it through the ceiling here. But anyways, the lady who I saw with the Pontee, her and her grandma, she looks up at me and she's like, Susan, you're the most beautiful lion. Your whole face turned into this lion. And she said, I wasn't scared at all. I felt so protected. And I was like, oh, cool, okay. Because I've had other people tell me my eyes, like I sent you some pictures of my pupils. I've caught 8 different shapes in my pupils. The ones that go like sideways, I think, are the dragon ones. Then I have Lyran ones that shape like cat pupils that go straight up and down. And people have told me when I do energy work on them that, yeah, here's my co-host. He wants to say hi. That's a little bit.
Can you do animal communication, Susan?
He's my free feral cat that likes to show up in my podcast.
Are you an animal communicator?
Yeah, they talk to me sometimes. But what else happened? Oh, also during lockdown, that video I just put on TikTok, this lady, Sylvia, she does QHHT sessions. She's really good. She sent my Zoom video back. That's when I do those. I'll have guides talking to me, and I don't remember everybody's stuff, and it doesn't always make sense to me, so that's why I record it. Because I like it better when I do the distance ones, and I record them, because then they have a record of everything I said, because people say later, do you remember saying this? I'm like, I don't remember. Because this is what I do for a living. You know, I work 4 days a week at a spa, and people come there to see me for different things. And I also work out of my house, but I do more of the craniosacral fascial therapy here and Reiki healing. And I really like the craniosacral fascial therapy because it unwinds you like a those slimline phones. You'd have to hang them upside down. And I have one lady, like, I start to turn her head and it'll start going really fast like this because you'll actually unwind through your trauma. And I had worked on somebody from the programs that was having migraines, and I put some gloves on because my guy's like, you got to get there in their teeth. It's in their teeth because you can go on. So I put a glove on, I touched his molar, and his head started moving. And then all of a sudden, because I'm a psychic medium, I could see these old men ripping his teeth out because they wanted him without teeth for their sexual deviancy. And it'll peel those layers of trauma off, and then, you know, I'll push healing in there too. So it can get pretty emotional, and sometimes we'll have to stop. And I have to warn, you know, regular people about that, because sometimes, you know, your body will hide your trauma and you won't remember it. So, you know, to keep your sanity basically. And sometimes when we do that, it can go back to trauma from when you're 2. It can go back to in utero, because also when I taught somebody here how to do that, and when she was doing it to me, I thought we were releasing, because you'll roll off the table, that we were releasing trauma from, I have a 4-level fusion in my neck, from that and the anesthesia, because it was a really long surgery. But that wasn't what it was. I started seeing myself, it's like 5 maybe, face down in a hospital uniform. And I'm pretty sure it was Mengele raping me, and he had the white doctor's uniform on. So we're going to go back and forth in the program stuff and some regular stuff. But he had drugged me so I couldn't move, and all I was doing was retching, because they would do stuff like that. So you'd have to experience some really awful trauma. But I'd forgotten about that. I thought that hadn't happened to me. I think it was Mengele, because that's, he had slicked back hair. So I stopped that session, because sometimes you have to stop for a minute and get yourself out of that, because I don't want to re-traumatize you. But if you can handle it, you can just go through and it'll just rip it off and release it, because all this stuff's hanging out in your aura. And I swear that they only regenerated us so much so that we would carry all this trauma still in our fascia, because our fascia is all crystalline, you know. And you know how quartz crystal holds memories. Same thing with your fascia. And this will go into some past life stuff too, because also it's weird, because when I'm working on your fascia and I'm a remote viewer, also we'll start going through timelines sometimes. And when I worked on that one lady that sent that video back, I was able to do the cranial fascial therapy at a distance, because I think she's in British Columbia, and I was really surprised we were able to do that. And then there's all the orbs and stuff coming out, because I know I have guides and there's other people in the room talking to me, and their guides are talking to me. But in that video that I put up on YouTube and TikTok, you can really see it, because I've had other people tell me during Zoom, and I never look at the Zoom videos. They're like, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I was like, oh, you know, yeah, that's just energy around me. And they're like, is there bugs in the room? I remember one lady said that. I'm like, no, it's just the energy. A lot of energy in here. So I have to clear it after people leave, because it's okay if spirits come in, like a past loved ones and stuff. I'm doing energy work. They're allowed to be in this room, but they're not allowed to trespass in the rest of the house. And then they gotta leave. So I will send them on their way. But also, when we came back from that journey to the truth that year, that was 2 years ago that you were there. I was sitting on my porch swing. Yeah, I have a wraparound porch. I'm a Victorian in Iowa. And I'm sitting on my porch swing looking at my front garden, because I put a hummingbird and butterfly garden there. And I was feeling really sad, because I was like, I'm not going to see any of my disclosure friends for a year. And I hadn't seen anybody for 2 years because of the lockdowns. And my guides, they're saying, get up and take a picture of the garden. And I didn't see it, but when I sat down, you know, these 4K cameras catch a lot of paranormal activity. I could see the sprites, that picture of the blue sprites that I sent you. And the Fae were really active then. And let me see. There was Fae showing up in my house. um, from 2022 till the present, because there's those little tiny sprite guys, and then there's the ones that are as tall as me, yeah, that look like they're from Lord of the Rings, you know, kind of like fairy elves, and they're interdimensional. I can see through them like ghosts or remote viewers, but after, you know, that getting the malignant narcissist out of here, I had a lot of fairy oh, go back to that one with my décolleté. If you can make that bigger, can you see where the scales are still there? That's where I'd shapeshifted into a red dragon in January of 2020. And I dropped the phone because I was so startled. And because I had other people say, you know, we'll be able to shift into our starseed DNA and we can just walk around as a Lyran or a dragon or whatever. I'm like, cool, but how am I going to buy groceries? And that was me catching me shifting back to human, because it lasts like 60 or 90 seconds. But yeah, after you activate your light body, your starseed DNA is going to start popping out, or it did for me anyway. And so I've seen my Lyran, I've seen my dragon, I've seen my Tuatha de Danann, it's the glowing one. And oh, that's what this was. I had a dream that Vero and I were cooking food for like thousands of people. I don't know why. It was this big, huge gathering, and we were wearing these peasant kind of clothes, but I couldn't figure out which tradition they went with. And like a year later, I found that picture, and she's wearing traditional Merovingian clothes. And I know that Vero and I are both dragon bloodlines, and she has the Celtic. She probably has the Tuatha de Danann, because I can connect with her blood in there. Also in James Casboult's book, they were looking for descendants of the Tuatha de Danann. That's what I was wearing when I was cooking all the food, because I had one fish, one chicken, and one piece of beef. And I used our cauldron that we had, the 4 gifts: the stone, the cauldron, the sword, and the spear. And I used the cauldron, which would feed hundreds of people like we were Jesus, or thousands. And I made one cauldron into like 3 or 4 cauldrons, because I had 3 of different kinds of meat: the fish, it was ham and beef, I think. And then I also had one of rice, and that's the outfits we were wearing when we were feeding everyone, but I couldn't see who we were feeding. And that was like some past life stuff, because I also remember living in Ireland, and hundreds of years ago, and I was pregnant. I was 9 months pregnant, walking around on the hill of Tara, and I was pregnant with a baby that would have brought 2 tribes together. That was what I caught of me shape-shifting back to human, and my whole face looks weird. And it doesn't last for very long. And then I did the close-up of just my chest, and you can see that. Yeah, and there's the lip things going too, like some kind of cat dragon thing. But the Tuatha de Danann could shift into animals too. And they were, mighty healers and warriors.
So this one,
That's my Lyran one. You can see my upper lip turns into cat lip. It's all puffy, and my lip doesn't normally look like that. And my eyes kind of went like this. That's
have
when
you?
I was.
But do you consciously remember turning into a animal in this lifetime?
No, I didn't turn into an animal in this lifetime, but I will shapeshift a little bit from some of that DNA. And I'm assuming it's DNA I came in with, and not something they put in me from the projects. So, because when I started, and that's a still from a distance healing video where the orbs were coming out of my hands, and I start glowing, and then I started researching the glowing, and the Tuatha de Danann were known as the shining ones. And there's me glowing. I'll start glowing when I do healing work, and I glow when I'm really happy. But yeah, it's kind of crazy because that's how bright it gets. And I put that up as a profile picture, and I'm like, look, even my eyebrows disappear. Sometimes my nose does, but I also remember being like this warrior of light, and I could make weapons of light. And them saying we were, then it went back to the Lixeldaten thing where they didn't know how old our souls were because we were beings of light, and I could make weapons of light, and the Tua could make weapons of light.
How do you feel when you change?
I don't feel any different. I just kind of worried like how other people are gonna take it because humans don't like things that are different from them. But I'm using all my abilities that I have for healing, and that's the picture of dragon pupils. They just both of them were turning this way.
Uh-oh. I think we might have lost Susan for a moment there. Oh, there you. Maybe I should let me turn off screen share for a little bit. Susan just think maybe the bandwidth might have. Do you think maybe you could refresh, reload, and come back in again? We'll go through. I'll just answer a question from the chat. Susan, you there? Okay. I don't know. I just muted her. So, give me a moment. Actually, let's troubleshoot this the old-fashioned way, and I will. Everybody, don't go anywhere. That means you need to stay here. I see some of you are leaving. Don't leave yet. Come on. We're gonna get Susan on the phone. Susan, what's up? What's up?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you reload? Come back in. Refresh.
Huh?
Refresh. Come back in. Yeah, your. I think your Wi-Fi may have gone down, or it shows 0 bars.
Okay. Well, I have bars on my end, but
Okay.
it's saying my mic's muted by you.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, just refresh and let's see if that can fix it. So, otherwise, yeah, I don't want to do the interview this way. Somebody's asking about the Spear of Destiny. Do you have any information on the Spear of Destiny, Susan?
That's the Stone of Destiny. It's supposedly it's in Glasgow right now. Okay, now I can see stuff.
Yeah, unmute yourself. I'm gonna go ahead and hang up. Okay. We good?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Awesome. So, can you hear me?
I don't have mic.
Oh. Let me see. Audience members, can you hear me? I'm pretty sure my mic is live. So, you may have to change the speaker setting. Oh gosh, give me a moment here. I knew I shouldn't hang up so soon. Okay. Susan, you have to change.
Sorry. I swear they don't want me talking about this stuff. That's why they keep kicking me out.
Well, let's do one more try, and then otherwise we could just do it through the phone. But so come on in. You have to check a different audio output in order to hear me. That's the key. There's different audio outputs and inputs you have to select. You there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not connected to any Bluetooth devices here.
Yeah, okay.
And
Cool.
shit.
All right, so someone's asking the date for the med bed's coming out. So years ago, I was told by Peter the Insider that the free energy, the advanced technologies are going to come out on Trump's second term. So that was back in 2016. Now we didn't know that he was going to lose, right? And had to wait until 2024. So now we're going to add 2 years to that, so we're about 2027. Cool. Okay, any other questions?
Am I back in or not?
Yes.
Shit. Oh.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Okay. I guess you can't hear me, right?
I can't hear you. What the hell? They don't want me talking today. This is so fucking irritating. Get out of here again.
What do you want to do, Susan? You want to just do it through the phone? Susan?
Let me see. Try one more time to get on here. I'm sorry. This is so irritating.
Audience members, can you hear Susan just fine through the phone? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, but
Okay.
I'm just sorry. I'm trying to get this other device. Sorry, I'm trying to device up.
Susan, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, thank God.
Okay.
I can hear you now, thank God.
All right. I hung up. Okay, cool. Whew, close call. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get on these live streams. I think the last time we had some problems when I was with Raw Cloud. You know Raw Cloud, Susan? You familiar with his
No,
work?
I don't. I haven't really been watching too many videos. I've been super busy doing all my healing stuff. And then I just added fasciashi. So, yeah, I'm doing my fasciashi and then adding some cranial sacral fascial therapy with it too.
Okay, good. Let's go to some questions. Are your abilities something that was passed down generationally?
Yes. My great grandma on my mom's side told me when I was 16 that I was Fae, and I only met her like her. And I used to hear stories about her. She had 18 children that lived. So I believe in birth control. Um, I would hear stories about her when I was growing up that she knew when her sons were injured in World War II because their pictures would fall off the wall, and coincidentally they were all in the Navy. So they knew about my grandmother's gifts before I was ever born, and they skipped my mother, and she's terrified of them because I told her I knew about. I thought her best friend died when she was 30. I was 9, I guess, then, and I thought she had really come to visit me, but she was visiting me in spirit, and that's when I realized I wasn't like everybody else, because when I was getting taken, they weren't taking my brother and sister, but I was also the oldest one, and when there was, I think that was the mater, and I think they were with the Air Force, because I just remember a white triangle ship being outside the bedroom, and I would fight them, and they would only take me, and they wouldn't take my brother and sister because I didn't want them to. Where was I going?
Okay.
Oh,
Next question. How can one know if they have Fey energy?
Shoot, I don't know. The fairies start talking to you. You get little sprites. They don't, like, some people talk about the fairies being mischievous. I don't have anybody moving my stuff around. They'll come tattletale because they were tattletaling on you know who, about betrayals and stuff. So yeah, they didn't like him. Um, I would make a fairy garden if you want to attract them and make your house. I don't know. I have a fairy house out in my garden. I put once in a while on the full moon, I'll put a shot glass out there with. I don't have whiskey because I heard they like whiskey, but I'll put some vodka out there for them. And just leave them little gifts, and I'll put crystals out there because the little ones like shiny things, but I think like the ones that are human size, I don't really care about stuff like that. They're just part of the family. And actually, when we used to, they used to torture us. I would sing to the kids, especially in Montauk. I don't know if you remember that, but I had certain places like bubbles that I would take us to escape torture when they weren't using a device to trap our souls in there so we could astral travel out. There was a place that I would take you guys that was like Tuatha de Danann. There was rainbows and it looked like Ireland, so I might have been taking everyone to High Brazil, the legendary island.
Do you think it was Ireland in this dimension, or is it like a higher dimension where this Faedom exists?
I think it was a higher dimension where the Fae are and where High Brazil is, because that is, one of the places they will live on. Besides, they live in underneath the fairy rings and stuff. And I remember when I was in Ireland, my Irish friends would get upset that I would walk in the fairy rings, and I said, "Well, I'm one of them. I can go in there," because they were telling me I was going to have bad luck. And I said, "No, I won't. I'm just supposed to ask for permission." And they say, "Yes," but they talk really high pitched because sometimes. Oh, and that's another thing. When the face starts speaking to you, you'll think your ears are ringing, but it almost sounds like that, but it's a little bit different. Because I remember waking up one morning and they were warning me, and I was hearing "It's going down today," but it was so high pitched that I was like, "Who's talking to me? If somebody's talking to me, you have to slow it down because I don't understand." Because like some of these higher vibrational beings, they speak so soft and their frequency so high. It's like trying to hear a dog whistle. So I said, "Slow down," because it was like, that's what it sounded like, sort of. And then it was more of I can't even replicate it, but it was "It's going down today. Pack your cash, pack your guns, and take them to work with you." I didn't know why they wanted me to pack my guns, but I found out later. So, because there was an ex-con pedophile in front of my house that had raped two females between the ages of newborn and 12, that had just gotten out of prison. That's why the Fae were warning me, because they didn't want me to go to prison, because they know how much I think all pedophiles should be terminated. So they do look out for me and keep me out of some trouble.
Or at least sterilized, Susan.
Yes. At a minimum, sterilized and put on another island. But yeah.
Oh, wow. So, by the way, everybody, Susan served in law enforcement for a few years, correct?
For 13 till I got injured. And then I had to find something else to do. And I used to use my abilities to find people, because when I remote view people that are missing, I don't know how I do it, but somehow I can look out of their eyes. And when Amaria's son was missing, this was like 5 years ago, she was all upset. When you get upset, it's hard to see. So I looked for her, and I could see out of his eyes, and I described the house and the cement steps he was walking up to, and she goes, "Oh, thank God, that's my ex-husband's house." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's where he's at right now." And I remember being able to do that as a police officer, because there was this one guy with diabetic feet, and he wanted some KFC, and I guess he fought with his wife, and he took off in the car, but he had no feeling in his feet. And I'm thinking, if I was him, which way would I go? And I was like, "Oh, I'll take the county road. I won't take the main road, because that's the country road." And that's where he was. I found him on the country road. He was all pissed off, but I took him to go get his KFC, and he bitched all the way home. But, they'd taken his license away.
They sure do love crystals, solar fountains, and solar-colored flowers, but not wind chimes or bells.
I don't know. They have wind. I have wind chimes out in front of my house, and they seem to like them. But wind chimes are good to keep around your doors because they raise the vibration. It's kind of a protection thing.
Very good. Yeah, I did a show with Kimberly Lusana, and she channeled the leprechaun people, and we got to talk to Toby, and Toby said that in the Fatum realm, they have very high advanced technology, so similar to what's been discussed with Sasquatch, where they can open up portals and they go to this whole other dimension where there's like flying pyramids, and they have their own plasma screen TVs and all. So yeah, where I think like we're here we're the ones that are basically trapped here. And that's why our goal, Susan, is to activate our abilities so we can transcend this realm if we can.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, activate all my abilities so I can get out of this matrix, and also so I can help people, because if I have these abilities, I'm supposed to be using them for good, so I'm use them to help other people. And that's what, when I'm meditating, I'll just, like Merlin was telling me, he's like, Susan, just tell people, just, use the mantra. I love Merlin. Um, he's like, universe, please bring to me people that need my particular brand of healing, so you won't see me out there going, you need to come see me. I got something for you. I figure if you see me on a podcast or something and I resonate with you, then you need to come see me and I can help you. But yeah.
Okay, next question. Let's see here. Could you tell us how could SSP experiencers recover more of their memories?
I
Because,
would.
it's like I think it's even less than 1% of all SSP experiencers have their memories back. And I want to know why. Why do you think that's the case, and what's different with you, Susan?
Um, I was meditating on a lot of stuff. Well, you got to remember, I was also a big health fanatic. I was into herbal stuff. I wasn't taking any medications. Um, I take this. I take Ormus every day. I take this Three Wise Men tea that has frankincense, myrrh. It's all ground up Ormus, and I do a shot or two of that a day. I think that'll help bring your light body. Um, Try to
How about shaga mushrooms?
Oh, I make mushroom tinctures. I made a super 7 with 7 different medicinal mushrooms, and then I did ones with other ones, and they'll help reconnect your synapses. Um, Quit drinking. What else can we do? Like, I went vegetarian for a while, and that's when my light body activated. But I'm eating meat again because I'm carry the O negative, and I get anemic, and I'm just really tired if I don't have some meat. But I feel better eating fish. But yeah, just clean up your diet. I don't drink soda. I rarely drink alcohol. I take a lot of supplements for different things. Um, I'm doing a lot of parasite cleanses because I remember doing one and I dropped this was a couple years ago, because when I was with who, I kept doing parasite cleanses, but I kept getting reinfected because somebody else wasn't doing the work. And I noticed doing one where I passed a lot of stuff that I released a lot of anger, because it's harder if you're having anger and looping thoughts. It's going to be harder to have any of your memories. I like you could try using some of that blue lotus. That'll help, because you got to calm down the monkey mind to get back to your memories. And then seeing people I remember from the programs, like Amaria. I was chatting with her, like, what was that, 6 years ago, 2018 or something. She became my friend. And I remember doing a chat with her, and I remember stealing, I think, Veronica said she was there too. But I remember stealing personnel files, and I don't know if this was on a ship or on a planet, but we ran into this big bathroom and we were using looking glass backwards, and I was holding the personnel files up to the mirror so they would be backwards so I could remember them. I don't know, but somehow that worked. But with the remote viewing thing, I was always an artist. I could draw people's faces really well, and that's what I remember is the faces and what things look like, not so much technology, like people that are engineers, because they would use three of us, like an artist, an engineer, and then another person that was neither, to get all three of our remote viewing, what we saw, and then judge it against each other for everybody's. Anyways, Amari had this 8x10 picture of her in this robin's egg blue native dress, and she had little beads on the end, and I was describing it, and I said, from my hairstyle, I think they took me out of like 1996 when I was a police officer and put me with you, and that dress was in your personnel file when I stole your personnel file, because we stole all of our personnel files, and we wanted to remember each other back in 3D. And she said, hold on a second, and this was 2018, and she said, she comes back out with this blue dress on the hanger, and it was a dress from the personnel file. And she said, I just made this 2 years ago. But we're like trying to figure out which timeline did they take us out of and put us back, because we remember, we were trying to do it by our hairstyles, because I'm like, maybe it was 1996. Well, that was, what, 20 years before she made the dress? Or was that 30 years? No, 30 years before she made the dress. So, yeah, they've been time traveling us, because I remember them making me an adult and then making me a child again as a punishment. But they did so many things, and I was in so many programs. It was ridiculous.
Do you remember going to the future?
Not so much the future, but a lot of the past, because I remember working with the Sonora Era Club in the Victorian era. They sent me back, and I had to go get these Da Vinci wings for a flying machine, and this is in the 1800s. Maybe it was Tartaria, I don't know, because they tried to hide that version of Earth too, but because a lot of people told me the Victorian stuff I remember and it was Tartaria. I'm like, could be, I keep showing up in each reset, and if we're talking about reincarnation, I think I'm my great-grandmother, Bridget, and that's why I had to go back to Ireland, and in particular Northern Ireland, because I had memories there.
Wow. Okay. Well, how about we talk about the memories of that time in Ireland? What was it? It's Tuatha de Danann.
The Tua. You're saying it in English. Anyways, I remember walking on the hill of Tara. I was pregnant, and the baby I was carrying would have brought two tribes together. And this was hundreds of years ago. And also in this memory, I have another memory of watching Marduk meet with these alligator-headed people, and they were talking at nighttime because they were burning these tiki torches. That's what I could see, him and these alligator-head people. And he told them he wanted me killed because he didn't want these tribes coming together. And sorry.
So what happened? Did the tribes come together?
No, I was murdered. They ran through with a sword while I was out walking. I thought I was safe, and I wasn't. And then my counterpart came and killed a couple of them because he was from another tribe, and then they killed him also. But I did get a little sweet revenge watching him kill a couple of them as I lay there dying. But actually, I saw that part of getting murdered in a regression. The other ones, the other memories I have from SSP and stuff, they're just memories. They aren't from regressions.
Okay, so the whole story about the Tuatha de Danann. So who was that person? Was that like a sage, a magician, sorcerer, or whatever, a witch?
Who was I?
Oh yeah, so that was you. You were the original
Um,
one.
I just keep coming back as different people, but that was me that was killed on the hill of Tara. That was just a different lifetime. Because I also have other. I'm not sure if that's the same lifetime, but I remember being in a place that looked like Scandinavia in a cave, and it looked like just a regular rock wall, and it had this real green heavy dress that I was wearing. When I put my hand up to the wall, it recognized my barometrics, and the whole wall turned into this bright green. And a door opened, and there was actually like a ship that had a medical bay and stuff in that mountain. And there was 3 of us that time. But supposedly, when the Tuatha de Danann came to Earth, they came in ships, and then they burnt their ships. So I don't know, because they wanted to
Do you think
stay.
they were Palladians or Syrians?
Well, there's a lot of A positive people in Ireland, but there's O negatives and O positives, and the A positives are supposed to be Pleiadians. So, I mean, I would say there's both up there.
Oh
And
yeah.
then,
Oh good.
like, why did the English people try to kill the Irish and the Scottish? Because we're magical beings. And they also tried to kill all the people in India. Well, at least the magical ones. That's why they did those fake genocides in India and Ireland.
And now, was it the original Celtic language is almost extinct, as just spoken around Galloway, around the Western Ireland. It's kind of sad to see that go.
Well, no, it isn't. They had a big resurgence of it in the 70s with all my friends that lived in the north that were, native. They all started, they're fluent Irish speakers now. Well, and then they're not in the Republic because that's still considered part of the UK, but in the Republic, you learn Irish, Gaelja, and English. So, all the street signs are still in Gaelja and English.
Very good. Okay, let's go to. Here's the next question. Where did all the dragons go?
They're still here. They're
Well,
in the sky. I've been seeing a lot of them in the sky. Um, you can call them when you do energy work or meditation if you're related to them, and they'll come. Because you should probably have a couple that are with you, or at least one. Like you have, like I know I have 2 guardian angels, but they're not angels. They're blue ETs that come and help me, and they're different races too. I've seen 3 different blue races come and help me when I've called for them in 3D. And shoot, what was that question again? I just got distracted.
okay. Here's a question from the chat here. Did the Tuatha de Danann arrive in Ireland originally, or did they come out of Israel? And is Dan related to Denmark?
No, they're the tribe of Danu, the goddess Danu. But the interesting thing is, Long is also tribe of Dan because we've got that cat dragon on our family crest, and that's tribe of Dan. So I'm tribe of Danu and tribe of Dan.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the next question. Are Lyrans cat people?
Yes, but they're like humanoid cats. Like they're not like I have seen Lyrans that look like house cats, but the ones that interact with me most are humanoid. They're 5-star beings. That one I saw at ESETI, she had arms and legs, and she was wearing a military uniform. I mean, she had like fingers, more humanoid fingers. It wasn't like she had cat paws, but she had cat fur. It was just finer. Like some humans are hairy. I mean, I'm not hairy, but
Oh, okay. So what about the all human people? Like supposedly, right? I always say supposedly, right? But before we were Palladians. They originated from Lyra, and even Lyrans, they didn't even originate from this galaxy. It was like another like billions of years ago. Probably go back trillions of years, right? Before the original Orion Wars kind of messed things up.
Well, the Lyrans held the 12th Stargate, and the Dracos wanted it, so they destroyed our planet. They actually came over the planet with this huge ship that ripped the gravity off. And I do know one person that was one of the last people when I did his regression. He was one of the last people through the Stargate. I took off in his ship because we also, I think I was military. Because not everybody had ships, but I took off in mine, and I ended up coming here.
Would you consider the Lyrans the original builder race that built all these Stargates?
I'm not sure who they are, but I know that with ET's Lyrans are on the do not approach list because we're also well-renowned healers, but we're also fierce warriors.
Everybody, you can make a donation to my nonprofit at healingsoulsurvivors.org. I really appreciate those donations. It makes my life so much easier. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Okay, great. So next question. Were you a healer during your past life?
Yes. Also, when I was doing that regression where I saw myself being killed, like I had a memory of a little boy that used to come over and play with me on the beach in Northern Ireland. He would like walk over from some island that was probably part of Scotland then during low tide. And I remember there was a man of war on the beach, and I told him not to touch it, but he never listens to anything I say. And he touched it and he got burnt. So I had that memory of taking him to the town healer. And when I did the regression, I tried to grab onto that little bit of memory and go back there. And when I did, I realized that it was my Fae great grandmother that was the town healer. And she told me she had been waiting for me, and she's really happy that I'm doing all the healing work and, folk herbalist and all that. So that was pretty cool.
Great, thank you. Question from Dan. Are you both still being used in these projects? I guess both doesn't mean. Yeah, I'm still active. I get marks all the time. What about you, Susan?
I haven't I used to get blood draw marks, bruises, all kinds of crazy stuff. But it seems like since I've been on my own, I haven't had as much interference at nighttime. And I also did a lot of things to, let's put it this way. I was drawn out here because they wanted my Fae blood, because per Renetta, Renetta that just passed, I was talking to her about how I got a love bite years ago before I moved out here, and I took a picture of it because I didn't remember who did it in the astral. I didn't remember anything about it. And she was like, "Oh no, Susan, that was the vampires. They were coming after you in the astral." And I sent her a picture of that blood draw mark that I had. I had a bruise during lockdown, and I hadn't had blood work done in 2 years. And she said they're stealing your Fae blood because they can use it as a looking glass. And she just told me to be very careful out here, and GTFOH out of the Midwest, because she said they were out here looking for people like me. But the last I remember was 2 years ago, maybe in the summertime. Maybe it was 3 years ago. They took me to open a portal for the Air Force, which I guess was like the SSP part of it. And I went to Fort Lewis. The guy who's the head of SSP he opened up this door to this classroom and said, "We've been waiting for you," but he looked like he was in his 40s, because when you see pictures of him online, I think he's in his 60s or 70s. He's an older fellow. And then I went in on the whiteboard and showed him, just like when I was a detective and we'd do search warrants, how we were going in. And I went and opened this portal, and I think it was some cartel guy in South America, and I jumped in, and he just was like, and he was kind of big fluffy guy and kind of greasy and sweaty, and he started running, and I guess the Air Force guys came in, because I guess that's pretty scary to see somebody just pop into your kitchen like that. I mean, I've seen ghosts do it, and when I see remote viewers, I can see through them like ghosts, but I've never had anybody just portal into my house like that. So,
Okay,
that I've
thank you.
seen.
Oh, wow. Okay, here's a question from Yvette. Are either of you used with permission on these missions or without permission?
I was kidnapped. I didn't join the military. I didn't sign up for any of that stuff, so I fight every time they come.
Yeah, they forced me to sign the documents when I was 16. We were under duress. Yeah.
Too. So, and they actually took me out of the womb, because while I was had cranial sacral done to me, I saw myself being taken out of my mom's womb, tampered with, and put back in. And I also saw that guy that I moved out here for, when I worked on him, he was taken out of his mother's womb and put back in, and they tampered with him. But yeah.
Okay, next question. Let's see here. What? Someone is asking about Dr. Sala. I don't have any information on Dr. Sala. Yeah, I'm not too close to him, but I would probably get on that show soon. But I got to get. He wants me to put a timeline together of my experiences. But Susan, I served in all these different clone bodies. I mean, there was a whole corridor of like 100 clone bodies. I mean, on all these, they would send us in suicide missions. So how am I supposed to say, oh well, I was here this year and that year? You know what I mean, Susan? But
It's hard, because I remember what it looked like. I remember they had these I don't know, something to preserve you in, but it looked like I was going in the 50s, because the bottom of the thing was candy apple red, like they would make up the kitchen appliances and stuff in the 50s, and then the top was like this clear glass thing, and then there was all these other containers with glass tops like that, and there was multiple clones of me. So I think, and I was just in the steerage part of the ship, so they would put us to sleep, our actual bodies, and then there would be clone bodies. So our actual body would be sitting on the ship, they put us in a clone body, and then send us out, and we just go back to wherever our body was. If it was on Earth, we'd come back here. Because I woke up in my bed from a mission fighting Germans when I was a police officer, and my late husband that I was a cop with woke me up, and he was telling me he's like, you were screaming, and I'm still holding on to my thigh and my shoulder where I got shot, and I could feel it burning after he woke me up, and I was sitting straight up in bed, and he tried to convince me it was cop death dreams. He's like, you never had any? And I said, no, but that was a good way to hide them. Oh, let's have Susan be a cop, and then we can keep these memories in here, so when she's dreaming, she's not sure if she's having memories or if this is just some weird cop dreams.
Wow, Susan. So do you remember all the different planetary corporations they used you in?
Oh God.
It was like at least Solar Warden.
I know I was in Radiant
Vendetta,
Glory
right?
and Radiant Glory. I was in Dark Fleet. I think some corporations used me. I also think I was in Kruger Corps, because I remember them cyborg and stuff. Like if you see that movie, what's it, Bloodshot, with
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel and Sam Huygens from Outlander. That thing they put on Sam Huygens that's like a spider. They actually screwed one of those things into the dimples in my back, in your pelvis, and I remember them screwing that thing into me without any anesthesia, and they're screaming, "Shut up! They'll forget about it." And I freaking forget about it. Some of the pain that you have in this timeline is from there, you know, because I swear they just make it so that your fascia looks okay, but you still have all the pain and stuff. But your fascia doesn't always look okay, because I have like things that look like scars on my back, and I don't know where they came from. So.
Thank you. Okay, here's another question. When the aliens experiment on people, I guess probably, hey Rhonda, you probably should change aliens to MIlabs, right? More like when the secret space program experiments on people, do they die and come back, or is it like you're dying and remembering? I think the word is rehoming, actually, right, Susan? When you die and that those memories come back to you.
Well, I remember dying and then put people in regeneration, and then putting people in regeneration tanks, because I remember we were getting overrun by this green race, and I just went super scion and burnt everybody, and the only thing that was left was boots and feet. So that's what I was collecting, so I could take them back to regen. And I remember the person who was Wolverine. Like, you'll remember when you come back to life again, the pain and stuff of when you die. Because I remember him being really pissed off, and they didn't see him climbing out of the tube. And the tubes looked a lot like the first Super Soldier movie with Jean-Claude. And in fact, last night, what was I on Tubi? And I was like, I'm gonna watch something so I could fall asleep. And Time Cop was on there with Jean-Claude. He did a lot of Super Soldier stuff. But I think a lot of that started triggering memories, because I was watching those movies when I was a cop. And yeah, and also I remember coming to Iowa. I was asleep in a motel room, and I kind of woke up because I felt somebody staring at me, and I looked, and they have those mirrors. I don't like having mirrors when I'm staying places. I'll cover them in the TV because they're portals. And 2 time cops came through there, and they were standing there staring at us, and I guess they decided to leave us alone, and they left. But the message was, we're watching you. So yeah, I don't know. They don't always tell me stuff. I'll see them watching me, and I'm like, what the fuck are they watching me for this time? I don't know. Did they just put me back in this timeline, and they're waiting to see how I'm going to react, or what?
Very good. Okay. Somebody's talking about Mickey 17. That's another code word, right? Isn't that the Q thing? 17. So maybe that was a white hat operation. But that movie was really dumb, honestly, Susan. Which
one?
Mickey 17. Did you see it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. But The Gorge was really good. I paid for a month of Apple TV just so I could watch it, because that was kind of triggering.
Oh, yeah.
That would be what, if you see it, because these corporations have no respect for life. They don't care if they kill you and what they do to you.
Okay, so in Mickey 17, the people that own this ship, right, that was supposed to colonize off-world, were like these religious nuts, right? So, but the thing is, in the secret space program, they're atheists mostly, right, Susan? The people that run these projects, you're not going to see a bunch of Mormons out there.
No, they're actually like Satanists or Luciferians, whatever you want to call them. But because that takes me to something else, when they would torture me and go, why don't you scream out for your God? And God didn't show up, but some angels would, or ETs, to help. But there was never a God. But yeah, they like to mock us.
They make us sleep on dead bodies when they part of the original breaking down process, because they want you to feel like you're dead, right? You're dead and they're our new gods, right? Our new rulers. Do you remember that, the dead bodies?
I remember having to carry a lot of dead bodies because there was a cold room at Montauk, and then I remember them having us out like in the fall because when I got cold weather, I'll start getting that nasal drip, and they had us digging holes and putting lime in it and stuff, and kids like those pictures that you see from World War II from the concentration camps. I remember some crazy stuff like that.
Do you remember going back in time doing missions in World War II?
Not so much World War II, but a lot of the Victorian age, they were sending me back to do stuff like that. So that would be more Civil War stuff, Victorian stuff. Shoot, I have to think about World War II stuff because I don't have any memories from that, but that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I know I was sent back, but I was on both sides actually. But also, are you familiar with Selly's Castle in Asheville?
No, never been there.
That's yes, it's supposedly like a satanic mother of goddess darkness. Oh, sorry, that one, not the goddess, the mother of darkness one castle. But anyway, okay, great. Let's see. Any other questions? I think we might be out of questions now. So, actually, Karen was asking about some herbs. So we're not allowed to give health information on here, but maybe Susan, you can list some herbs that you think might be helpful. How about that?
Herbs that are helpful.
Something that you might take regularly to yourself.
Things I take regularly myself. Well, I use a lot of magnesium spray is good. These are things I make. Here's this is like my triple blend. This is, I don't know if you can see that, but it's lion's mane, cordyceps, and turkey tail. These are 3 powerhouses, and I'll take like 2 droppers full. Yes, I make, see all the medicine in there. And I make all this stuff. It takes a couple months to make these. But anyways, I make a lot of mushroom stuff. I've never made blue lotus tincture, but I would try that one. That one's good to help with meditation. Also, you could take like a tulsi tincture, because I think just to meditate, you would really want to calm the monkey mind so that you can actually get into the frequency. And I really like using like 528 hertz music because I like to operate from the heart chakra. I don't know what kind of herbal products she's wanting because I make all kinds of stuff. I make a lot of stuff for pain because I have a lot of clients with pain, like arthritis pain. Because here's one for cold sores. I make a cold sore balm. This is Organic Mom's Balm. It's plantain, yarrow, and comfrey, and this stuff's really good. You can see all the plant medicine in there. I had a mud wasp in here, and it stung me. I didn't see it when I was lighting a stick of incense. I was like, ooh, I just made this, and I put some on me, and the sting was gone in a couple seconds. Oh, and this is the stuff I really love, because I also make stuff for a cancer network, and this is...
Yeah, we're not allowed to say that word here.
Oh, the C word? But anyway, this is my 3 wise men. It's got frankincense, myrrh, monatomic gold, yerba santa, ginger, juniper berries, and 2 types of cinnamon. And I said ormus, right? And then I have 7 butters and vitamin E. And then
wow, Susan, that's amazing.
And something else. And this stuff, people put it on. And one of my clients locally, or dad broke his knee, and then I charge everything with my healing energy. And like Aurora Diamond Heart, her daughter, picked up one of the things that I'd given to Aurora, and she's like, who put magic in this? This has magic in it. She's like, did a witch make this? And I was like, no. So she was giggling when she told me what her daughter said, because people that feel energy can feel the vibration that I put in there, because I'm trying to make it as high vibe as possible, so it'll reduce your pain and heal you exponentially faster. But yeah.
Well, I would recommend horsetail grass. So I've had if you ever get problems with like sensitive gums, your teeth are hurting a little bit. It could be cold sensitivity. So what it is, our diet is devoid of nutrients, micronutrients like silicon. So horsetail is 2% silicon by weight. It's super cheap. You get 90 of them. You just do one every other day. It'll last you like a half a year. It's like $10. So um, it's like, what is that thing that an ounce of prevention is like a pound of cure kind of thing. So, you know, um, also I find essential oils super helpful. Like if you're trying to meditate or relax, you can't sleep. You don't have to necessarily take a something that puts you to sleep. You just do some peppermint or actually lavender is really good, right? And then carry sage is good for concentration. If you have like ADD and you have to study, try to. So, uh, Susan, do you have any information on the? Yes, hold on a
Somebody
second.
asking about kidney stones. There's not too many things you can use for kidneys, but Chanca Pierda is called the stone breaker. And I don't currently make that, but I use that tincture, and you can get it on Amazon. So if you're having kidney stones, I would definitely do a dandelion tincture. You can get the dandelions out of your yard and dry them and make a tincture. I don't like making tinctures with wet herbs, but you can. I just don't want to deal with any mold. I'll dry mine first. I would also do dandelion. Um,
No,
and if
Edgar
kidney is
Casey.
bad, I would also do gallbladder cleanse too. But I have things for that on my page. Different. Sorry.
Well, Edgar Casey said to do watermelon seeds, like boil them. Of course, our watermelons come devoid of seeds nowadays. But good luck on that. Thank you, Karen, for the great questions. You could also do that grape. What is it? You take grapefruit and olive oil, and then of course, you're going to be on fast for a day. Oh gosh, it's the most horrible feeling, but you feel so great after it's done. Yeah, helps detox. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, Susan, why don't um, why don't you tell people a little bit about what you do, and maybe about your readings and the whatever. Yeah, if you could do remote sessions and so on.
I do remote sessions, and I also do remote because I do remote healing work. I'm an Osui and Holyfire Reiki master, but I also do my own Faemon healing. Yeah, I love castor oil packs. I send those home with my clients a lot. Actually, I just sent a castor oil pack, and I have some actually on my desk back here. I sent him home with one for his shoulder and one for his knee. Yeah, I like those Epsom salt capsules she was talking about. And then you can do the tart cherry juice, the concentrate, for like a week. I have the protocol listed on my page, but that'll help soften your stones. Take that for like a week before you take the magnesium capsules, and it'll help soften your stones.
Do you offer consultations over the phone?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then you can also do readings. Tell us a little bit about the readings that you do.
Well, I don't do just plain old readings anymore, because I'd rather do healing. So if you want to come in and get some healing, and you're having issues, my guides will talk about supplements and stuff that you need. Because sometimes I've actually had people come in and they need a parasite cleanse really bad, and you can smell when they're full of ropeworms because they smell like breakfast sausage. And just the easy one to get them started with is just to take oregano capsules and mimosa pudica capsules 3 times a day with meals. You want to take the oregano oil with meals because it can give you anal leakage, and you don't want to smell like a pizza. besides oregano oil burns a little bit, so you don't want to deal with that either. But that'll get rid of a lot of rope worms, and that's not like you won't have the die-off flu symptoms as much as you would doing a regular cleanse, like if you're going to step up to MMS or do like a Paragard one, because those are a lot rougher, I think. And you can also take that combination for diverticulitis. But basically, if they're doing energy work, I pull their whole energy body, because I ask for your permission, onto my table, and I'm recording that. And then you can see me using the pendulum. So I'll show you which chakras are open and closed, and I'll tell you what I'm feeling before I go in deep, because when I do stuff, it's just part of my abilities. I'll feel your pain and stuff in my body, and it helps me. I'll be asking a lot of questions. You'll be like, why'd she ask me these questions? Because I'm feeling pain in my body where yours is, and I'll be like, I have pain here. Is this your pain? You know? Because a lot of times when I get nurses and stuff that come in for their energy balancing, I'll be having like heart palpitations. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's not even my energy, or my head feels stalled. I feel like it's being crushed with the migraine. And then they get here and they're like, oh, my head's been hurting all day. I'm like, okay, just get on the table and I'll get rid of your pain and mine right now. But
And Susan is an amazing healer. Oops, we're not allowed to say that word, but Zentai already said it. Just where can people go if they want to get a session in person? Whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Southeast Iowa, and Bloomfield and Ottumwa as the two places I work at. And then you can also reach me online, because I do Zoom sessions too. But depending on how open you are, will determine how deep I'm going to go, because I like to have consent. I don't remote view people without their permission. I think that's freaking rude, because I'm going to see all kinds of stuff that you aren't necessarily keeping hidden. So I believe in having respect and, keeping people's privacy, because I'll see all kinds of stuff. That's why I don't like doing live readings. Yeah, I think that's between me and you, what I see, so you can deal with some stuff. And if we're lucky, we can do some craniofacial work, like I can actually move your pelvis like I did with that lady if you're having pain. But mostly I go in there, pull whatever's out. Then I do stuff that isn't even Reiki, because I remember being somewhere and we had this golden honey that came down off the ceiling. You could take it, put it on a burn, and it would immediately be healed. I'll pull that golden light from that same frequency and cover people after I'm done, after I pull things off of you, because I want your aura to be totally sealed and protected when I send it back, so you don't get anything, trying to siphon on you. And one lady that was here locally in Iowa, because I'll walk around with my pendulum and it'll just spin, and I'll just concentrate on you being full of this golden light. And actually, I'm trying to activate your light body and your armor of God, if you believe in that, so that you can start glowing too. And this one lady said, "Are you putting golden light into me?" And I was like, "You can see that?" And because I was a talk therapist that sent her to me, because she'd been having a lot of nightmares and stuff from couple home invasions, and I do get a lot of people. I was a sex crimes investigator, but that just kind of rolled right out onto the healing thing, where, like, I remember walking into one room at this one place. I don't work there anymore, but there was this young lady there, and she's face up on the table, and there's this big glassine, like almost a cartoon caricature, and there's this Amish guy from his head down to his torso coming out of her sacral and root chakra. And she's there for a massage. I said, "Is it okay if I do some energy work on you? Because I need to clear something here." And I said, "You've got this energy down at your root and sacral chakra I want to take off of you." And she said, I was molested. And because she had that accent, I said, "Can I ask you a question? Were you Amish?" And she said, "Yes, I left the community because of this thing that happened to her." And she was only like 19 or 21. I don't know. She was pretty young. And I said, can I take this energy of this person that assaulted you off? She's like, yes. And that son of a gun was in there, so it was like rooted. I'm in there cutting. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use like my Phoenix Force and go in there and just burn it all out, the root and everything. And then I could work on her because I had to get that guy out of there. Because as soon as she said I was molested, I said, I know, and I can see who did it, you know. Like, I don't choose what I get to see. It just kind of pops up at me, you know. I don't know what I'm going to see when I work on people, because I think it's just whatever needs to be addressed in that session. Because the cranial sacral fascial thing, it's uses the theory that your body's like an onion. Each time I work on you, I'm going to unwind another piece of the onion, and we're going to take that layer off, because we can go back I don't know what's going to happen in that session. I worked on a 67-year-old lady, and she had hip pain, and when I went to work on her hips, I could see when she had a breech baby when she's in her 20s, and they thought they were going to lose the baby in the labor delivery room. And I could see the doctors and nurses are all panicking that are in the room. She's crying, her husband's crying, and they're trying to turn the baby. And that's what all her hip pain was at 67, was from an incident that she hadn't let go of from when she was in her 20s. So I'm standing there crying because I'm in the moment. And I look at her, and she's just looking at me, and you could see all the relief coming off of her. And she was smiling afterwards, and they're always like, I feel so much better. I said, it's weird that like something from 30, 40 years ago is still holding you back, but it does that.
Well, Susan, thank you for coming on here today. Thank you, audience members, for joining us as well. And this we had great questions from the chat. Also, thank you, Rumble listeners, those who listen to posts. We love you too. So go check out all the links for her social media. You got your TikTok. What's on your TikTok, Susan?
Oh, there's some Lyran ships on there from a couple years ago. I don't know if you can how you find them, because they're old. And then I have, you can see me doing a little cranial fascial therapy. And then when I was doing a chat last week with Stone Hobbit and my friend Jack Kelson, my cat knocked my screen down. You can see she knocked a panel out over here. I'm trying to figure out how to fix it, because I've had this screen for like 30 years and I love this thing. Anyways, they were telling me that there was a guy in a cloak behind me. I said, I've seen him a couple times in the house, and I've seen him on the front stairs. So I went and hooked up my cameras, and as soon as I hooked them up, you saw like this big flash of light in the front hall, because that's where I've seen him. I saw him the last time, but when I'm upstairs in my craft room, I'll be working, then I could feel somebody like looking over when you feel somebody looking over your shoulder, you're like, who the F is there? Get the F off of me, And then I got to yell at him, because he's kind of cowardly and he tries to hide, but then he'll sneak out. And I haven't seen him in like 2 years, but I got to do another house cleansing, because that guy was here. There's always activity in here. We've got my guides, past family members. I've seen my dad in here twice, and he's never been to Iowa since he passed in June last year. I've seen my late husband in here. I've seen other people. And then when I first moved in here, I thought there was a home invasion the first 3 nights, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody was stomping in the front room, which is my family room now, on the hardwood floors. And as soon as I get down to the first landing, with my gun, and I'm trying to peek around the null post, I'm seeing there's nobody there, and the noise stopped. So we just changed all the locks, and then I had to clear the house with some Celtic salt, and then I got some holy water and some sage and some Palo Santo. So the stomper hasn't been back, but once in a while I will have they just, I don't know. I have to keep certain doors closed in my front hall because it makes a portal. Because I'm in a Victorian house and with the beveled mirrors in the window and the bevel, I can't have a door with a mirror open, shining on the front beveled glass door, or it makes a portal. So, and that's when you see all the activity come in, and then I have to go and close it and send people back. So I like having the cat because, yes, buddy, you do a good job at closing portals. Yes, you do. Here he comes. Here he comes.
All right, Susan, thank you all. Let's wrap this up. So everybody stay tuned for this message from Lifewave. I'm gonna play this clip from the energy patches. Thank you all who subscribed to Lifewave to help support the operation of the show. And we'll see you all later. Goodbye, Susan. See you all.
Thanks.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we have Lifewave brand partner Arthur Gross with us again today to discuss a fascinating product that's been making waves in the wellness and energy space in the life, and that is the Lifewave Energy Patch. Arthur, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, James. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on.
Great, thank you. So let's dive right in. Tell us exactly what is the Lifewave Energy Patch and how does it work?
The Lifewave Energy Patch is a 2-patch system. It's a patch that you apply to the body, and it helps your body burn fat and turn it into energy.
Wow, that sounds incredible. So it's not like a supplement or something that enters the body.
That's correct, James. There's no drugs or anything that enters the body. Photobiomodulation is the process of light making change in the body. Much like the sun tells your body how to create vitamin D, the Lifewave patches do that with specific frequencies to bring on specific results.
That sounds fascinating. Can you share a bit about the science behind it?
Yes, there's been clinical studies done proving that the energy patch is to induce beta oxidation to burn fat and convert it into vital energy. There's more. It induces beta oxidation, increases ATP, cellular energy, engages natural energy field, improves clarity and motivation, supports physical activity, balances cognitive vitality, increases vital energy, supports metabolic function, supports homeostasis, and unblocks negative energy.
Wow, that sounds quite impressive. Can you give us an example of how we could, or how could I, or you, or someone, our listener, use one of these patches for best results?
Yes, I had a long drive from Florida to Houston, Texas last week, about a 12 to 14-hour drive. And I applied the energy patches that morning when I left Florida. And I went all the way to Houston. I didn't nod at the wheel. I didn't get tired or restless. I made it all the way to Houston. I wasn't worn out when I got there. I felt just fine. And then I wore them on the trip back and had the same result.
Great. So how would you apply them to your body?
You can use them in several places. It's a 2-patch system. That's what the envelope looks like. It is a tan patch and a white patch. There we go. You put the tan patch on the left and the white patch on the right. And you just peel it and stick it to your body. Left, tan on left, white on right. And you don't even have to stick it to your skin. You could actually stick it to your clothing. Sometimes when I'm on my feet all day, I'll stick them on the bottom of my feet. There's different pressure points in the directions where you can use. Sometimes you can put them on your elbows. You can put them on your lung one, on your chest up here. And basically, wherever you put them, it's going to move the energy through your body and create more energy naturally.
Well, that's amazing. So that's part of the reason why we're doing these interviews, because that's something that I didn't even know. I just grabbed one of those yellow patches and put it on me, and I had plenty of energy. So now I'm gonna have to go use the white one new and see how it works.
It's a 2-patch system, and there's 15 of each in each sleeve.
Okay, thank you. So it's like, is it a natural energy boost without the crash that comes from caffeine or energy drinks?
That's exactly it. It's causing your body to burn fat and create vital energy naturally. There are no stimulants involved. The only thing going into your body is your own light reflecting from the patch.
Wow, absolutely. So, Arthur, thank you so much for joining us today. There has been a very enlightening process in this conversation, and I'm sure our listeners enjoy this as well. So, why don't you let's just go ahead and wrap this episode up and stay tuned for more exciting conversations optimizing your health and energy. So, Arthur, any last final comments?
No, thank you very much, James. I appreciate you having me here.
All right. Until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.